This is Southern Belle Whisper, and tonight I want to make sure to do a video in honor of the 20th anniversary of 9/11. When 9/11 happened, I was in 4th grade. I was 10 years old, and I remember my principal coming to grab my teacher, my 4th grade teacher, out of the room into the hallway. And I remember we were like goofing around, in class, typical 10-year-old 4th graders type of stuff. And I remember, I will never forget his face. His face was white as a sheet. Like, I thought the principal had told him that, like, one of his family members had died. That is the way his face looked. And he went over to the TV. Back then we had, like, the TVs with the little knobs, like 1970s type TVs in our classrooms. And he turned the TV on, and as the TV came on, the second plane hit. That was horrific. If I can explain it in any way, I was scared to death. We didn't know what was going on. We didn't know by the time the second plane hit, everybody already knew it was a terrorist attack. But as a 10-year-old and witnessing something like that, I have always had I guess you could call it a soul connection to New York City. I've never been to New York City, even though that is on my bucket list. That is numero uno on my bucket list, is to go to New York City during December when it's all decorated for Christmas. I've had that dream since I was 5 years old. My mom used to watch all kinds of movies where it was set in New York City with me when I was a very, very little kid. That's why I'm kind of an old soul. Like, when I was 5, I watched, like, Sleepless in Seattle. I think Adventures in Babysitting was also set in New York City. Hey Arnold was set in New York City. Like, every movie and every show I watched was set in New York City, it seemed. So when 9/11 happened, it was a shock to my soul. It is still a shock to my soul. It is hard to believe it's been 20 years already. But like I said, New York City is very special to me. My niece, she's gone 5 times, and we've always had that soul connection to New York City. I don't know any other way to describe it other than a soul connection to New York City. That's the only way I can describe it. But anyways, so my prayers and thoughts, and I don't know, my prayers and thoughts go out to the families and to the people that still deal with physical elements of 9/11, like PTSD, cancer, anything like that. It just, my love and my prayers and my thoughts go out to you. If you were in any way impacted by 9/11 at all, because it was a horrible day. It's just one of those days, like, you say you have a bad memory, but it's just one of those days where you knew where you were and you knew what you were doing when it happened. And oh God, man, getting a little bit emotional here. Try not to get emotional. And the way the world is right now, it seems we're probably headed for another shock to our souls. I hope not, but it just seems the way the world is going at this rate. Something's going on. I don't know. I really don't want to get into that. Politics, the thought of what is really going on. I don't like to get into that in my videos, but this video is a remembrance to all the lives lost, to all the lives that have been impacted in any way by 9/11. You are always in my heart. So, I went ahead and decided to make this into a facts video. A lot of people liked my last video where I showed pictures of my exhibit that I went to. So I thought I'd make another one. I don't have my candle this time. I'm sorry. I've already used that candle. It's so nice. My husband uses it more than me. He loves it too. But it's going to be facts about New York City. You'll have to read to believe. And I'm also doing this video soft-spoken because my husband is playing a video game in the living room. And like a wall is like separating us right now. So if you hear his game at all, I'm very sorry, but I want to be sure to make this video before September 11th because I'm working after tomorrow night. But tomorrow night I am going with my mom to the movies, so I knew I wouldn't be able to make a video tomorrow night. And then after that I go back to work, so I decided to go ahead and make this video now. So this is facts about New York City. You'll have to read to believe. At first I thought I was going to do a 9/11 facts, but it was just too dark. I know 9/11 is dark in general, but I just, that's not really relaxing, in my opinion, to do that. So I went ahead and decided to do a facts. So let's see. Okay, number 1, Times Square is named after the New York Times. Originally, it was known as Longacre Square until the Times moved there in 1904. Longacre Square doesn't quite have the same ring to it, does it? No, it doesn't. 2, you probably know New York City is famous for pizza. However, did you know it's home to the first ever United States pizzeria? Lombardi's opened in 1895 and still serves some of the best pizza in New York City. Bonus fact, the price of a pizza slice in a single subway ride has remained relatively equal more than 50 years, resulting in what economists call the pizza principle. Weirdly, when the price of one goes up, so does the other. 3. More than 800 languages are spoken in New York City. Yes, 800. As a result, it is the most linguistically diverse city in the world. Oh, that's a beautiful picture of New York City. There's London Bridge. You have the new memorial right here. Hold on, let's sit this down again. And I want to zoom in here. There's the new World Trade Center. That's a very beautiful picture. Okay, which landmark? Okay, number 4. Which landmark is older? Brooklyn Bridge, the Tower Bridge in London, or I think that's supposed to be R, the Tower Bridge in London. If you guessed the Brooklyn Bridge, you are correct. Wow. Number 5. If you've ever been to New York City, you've no doubt heard a lot of cards honking their horns. However, honking your horn in New York City is actually illegal. That's one of the facts about New York City that doesn't seem true but is. Wow, I didn't know that. Number 6, New York City, not Washington, D.C., was the first capital of the United States of America. Number 7, we've all heard the phrase faster than a New York minute. However, did you know there is a birth in New York City every 4.4 minutes? That's a lot of babies. 8, it's not illegal to go topless in New York City. Don't worry though, people prefer to wear the clothes here. Number 9, the New York City Library is home to more than 50 million books. As such, it's the 3rd largest library in the world and the 2nd largest in the United States, behind the Library of Congress. Number 10, the Empire State Building gets hit by lightning around 23 times a year. Talk about electric. Number 11, New York City. I forgot I got my type keyboard right here. New York City has the largest Jewish population outside of Israel, largest Chinese population outside of Asia, and largest Puerto Rican population of any city in the world. 12. Going topless may be legal in New York City, but farting in a church could result in a misdemeanor. This is due to a law stating a person is guilty of disruption or disturbance of a religious service, funeral, burial, or memorial service when he or she makes unreasonable noise or disturbance while at a lawfully assembled religious service, funeral, burial, or memorial service, or within 100 feet thereof, with intent to cause annoyance or alarm or recklessly creating a risk thereof. Okay, number 13. Up until the 1920s, May 1st was moving day in New York City. As such, everyone who was moving apartments in New York City had to move on this day. Can you imagine the chaos? This may be one of the strangest facts about New York City. I think there's some typos in these. Oh my goodness. Statements. My brain waves just went bye-bye. Facts. I think there is some typos in these facts. Okay, number 14. The Central Park Mall, which is the only straight path in Central Park, was originally designed to let wealthy New Yorkers stroll, socialize, and show off their fancy duds. 15. New York City's Federal Reserve Bank has the largest gold storage in the world. The vault, which holds more than 7,000 tons of gold bars, or roughly $90 billion, is 80 feet below ground. 16. You may have heard of the High Line Park located across the New York City streets, but have you heard of the Low Line? It's the world's first underground park in the world and is located on Manhattan's west side. 17. Grand Central Terminal has a whispering gallery. Ooh. Stand at opposite diagonal corners of the room to whisper to someone standing on the other side of the room. Well, I'll have to go there, won't I? 18. The oldest building in New York City dates back to 1842. Known as Wyckoff Farm, the house, which is located in Brooklyn, is now a museum dedicated to the city's Dutch heritage. one of the oddest facts about New York City is that cowboys used to patrol the west side of Manhattan. Why so? Well, their job was to wrangle people out of the way of freight trains in an effort to avoid accidents. Luckily, as safety measures improved, they were no longer needed and phased out by 1941. 20. Attention birdwatchers. There's more than just pigeons in New York City. In fact, 275 of the 800 known North American bird species have been spotted in New York's Central Park. 21. More than 800 million people live in New York City. That means 1 in every 38 people in the United States calls this bustling city home. Beautiful Statue of Liberty. 22. The Statue of Liberty may be a shining symbol of America, but did you know it was originally gifted to the United States by France? The gift was bestowed in 1886 for America's centennial celebration. It was then shipped as 350 pieces in over 200 crates and took more than 4 months to assemble. 23. If Brooklyn was its own city instead of a borough in New York City, it would be the 4th largest city in the United States. 24. The Big Apple is one of New York City's most famous nicknames. But where did the name come from? Not a likely place, actually. It stems from a local newspaper's horse racing column in the 1920s, which used the phrase to describe a bug money price at popular horse races around the city. 25. Albert Einstein's brain and eyeballs are kept in a safe box in New York City. Strange, sure. True, you bet. 26. In 1780, winter was so bad in New York City that New York Harbor froze over. As a result, people could walk from Manhattan to Staten Island on the ice. That's definitely one of the strangest facts about New York City. 27. If you're a New York homeowner, you can request a tree get planted outside of your home for free. How amazing is that? 28. New York City is home to the most billionaires in the world, and there are more than 380,000 millionaires in the city. Share some of that. 29. Speaking of money, you're going to need it if you plan on living in New York City. The average rent price is around $3,500 a month. Oh my gosh. Okay. 30. New York City wouldn't be the same without its round-the-clock fleet of yellow and black taxis. Oddly enough, though, the first gasoline-powered taxi in the city were red and green. New York City cabs didn't adopt the yellow color until 1912. 31. Imagine this. The entire world's population could fit in the state of Texas if it were as densely populated as New York City. 32. The Bronx was named after Jonas Bronk, who was the first European to settle in the region in 1639. Over the years, Bronx changed to Bronx, and the rest is history. 33. One of the more interesting facts about New York City is that oysters were so popular in the 19th century, their shells were used to pave Pearl Street. 34. If you tried to navigate the entire New York City subway system, it would take approximately 24 hours. And that's if you hurry. With 34 lanes and 460 stops, the system is one of the largest in the world. 35. The gold rush might have happened in San Francisco, but you might be surprised to learn there is a literal gold digger in New York City. He mines the sidewalk cracks for gold and can make over 600 a week. Pretty impressive. 36. UPS, FedEx, and other commercial delivery companies receive up to 7,000 parking tickets a day. Yikes. That results in approximately $120 million in revenue for the city. 37. A 1 mile long island called Hog Island used to exist south of Rockaway Beach. It disappeared after the hurricane of 1893. 38. McSorley's, which is one of the oldest bars in New York City, didn't allow women inside until 1970. 39. The iconic Empire State Building has its own zip code, 10118. 40. New York City has 520 miles of coastline. That's more than the coast of Miami, Boston, Los Angeles, and San Francisco combined. 41. The city of New York will pay for a homeless person's one-way ticket if they have a guaranteed place to stay. 42. There are more undergrad and graduate students in New York City than Boston has people. 43. There is a secret train platform in the Waldorf Astoria Hotel. And 44. The nearest house in New York City is in the West Village. 75 and a half Bedford Street is just over 9 feet wide. And 45. It cost over $289,000 for a 1-year hot dog stand permit in Central Park. Well, I learned something new today. I don't know about you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I want to thank all of you so much for all the subscriptions, all the lovely comments you leave me. You guys have no idea how much it means to me. Like, the ASMR community is my safe place. It's the place that I go to if I'm feeling sad, if I'm happy, if I have good news, if I have bad news. I just want to come to you guys, and I want to make a video because I know it helps people. Me personally, it helps with my anxiety, with my depression. It helps with my sleeping. I have insomnia. I sleep with ASMR every night, it seems. But anyways, as I said before, all my prayers and thoughts go out to families, victims, survivors of 9/11. My heart goes out to you 100%. I love you all so much. Bye-bye.